Jane from Village Memorial, and today I'm at Gresham Pioneer Cemetery on a beautiful sunny afternoon on Labor Day weekend 2013. And as you can see, I'm alone again. Let's talk a little about that. I've been told you'd have to be a fool to want to open a cemetery. In fact, it's been some time since the cemetery has opened in the city of Portland. Curiously, I've spoken with a number of funeral home operators who've turned down opportunities to take over cemetery grounds. My hope is to convince you that we need to revise the legal definition of the word cemetery from solely a place of burial of human remains. I want cemeteries to be living institutions in the community by allowing family-focused uses to generate income for their continued maintenance. I want to convince you that cemeteries should have the ability to hold events such as concerts or art shows on cemetery grounds, which is currently against the law in the state of Oregon. Such events could finance maintenance of parks and subsidize future events and improvements. Perhaps Oregon was inspired by policies drafted by national memorials such as Arlington National Cemetery. Consider this notice printed inside their visitor brochure. Visitors to Arlington should know that the cemetery is a shrine, not a place for recreation, picnics, or child's play. Memorial parks like Arlington, the 9/11 Memorial, the Vietnam War Memorial, and other national shrines get visited by thousands of families from all over the world. Naturally, a high degree of reverence by visitors is important. But should these standards for federally funded national memorials be imposed upon largely underfunded, local, privately owned cemeteries? Oregon thinks so. Today we have laws that prevent cemeteries from holding leisure events. Not only can cemeteries not charge admission, but they can't even keep animals, like goats, on site to trim the grass instead of using noisy lawnmowers and leaf blowers. Cemeteries, like our own Willamette National Cemetery, run like clockwork, shuffling families in and out of the park. Many of our most well-maintained parks are designed to discourage lengthy visitations. Families are encouraged to leave after military honors and asked to return later. For visitors from far away or who took time off work to attend, this is pretty inconvenient. I think such policies and practices are the reason for the current disconnect we feel towards burial grounds. It has perpetuated public disinterest in memorialization and stimulated the rise of direct cremation. For small private cemetery owners whose parks have become unsustainable, there may be no alternative than to forfeit their operations to the maintenance of the state. Instead, I propose that we enable cemetery operators to revive interest. We need to reassess what a cemetery should be. We need new reasons to visit, new models of endowment care, and technologies that create opportunities to promote economic activity. Together we can preserve history, public lands, renew public spaces, and public property. Oregon has the third highest rate of cremation in the country, says a recent Time magazine article, and according to Oregon Metro Pioneer Cemeteries, by 2015, Oregon's cremation rate is estimated to reach as high as 80%. So where does this leave our cemeteries? With dwindling sources of revenue to meet increasing costs, with interest rate and trusts so low, I believe we are at a tipping point where many private cemeteries could collapse under rising costs and falling burial rates. The solution isn't to burn our taxpayers, however, with the cost of cemetery upkeep. Yet, without more interest, cemeteries will be in serious trouble. An overgrown, dilapidated cemetery insults the memory of those buried there and is a blight on our community. Now, you may be thinking there is nothing you could do that would make a cemetery more interesting, and you're partially right. Cemetery operators are constrained by tradition and outdated legislation. For instance, Oregon Revised Statute ORS 97.0.0 defines a cemetery as a place dedicated to and used for a permanent memorial, or for the permanent interment of human remains. ORS 97.330 notes that upon the filing of the map, the dedication is complete for all purposes, and thereafter the property shall be held, occupied, and used exclusively for cemetery purposes. I don't think Oregon's state definition makes any sense. I don't think a court would think so either. The fact that a cemetery is a place devoted to the burial of bodies requires nothing restricting reasonable use of the grounds, so long as the use does not conflict with the graves or markers and is respectful of the persons buried there. If proceeds go towards the upkeep of the cemetery, why shouldn't live concerts, art installations, or whatever respectable community events be considered cemetery purposes? Why can't people visit a memorial for family fun and remembrance? But I am hopeful. Recently, several apps have launched that do guided cemetery tours, and some California memorial parks and cemeteries are holding events. Some host outdoor movie nights, while moviegoers picnic on blankets. One holds an annual Dia de los Muertos festival, and more are holding some of the best fine art exhibits in the country. These happenings attract the public, encourage regular visitation, and reestablish our lost connection to our cemeteries. Memorial parks can thrive if they become community centers for the arts, and I think having reverence for those who have passed before us means remembering them. In conclusion, by Oregon law, a cemetery has to be used for cemetery purposes. But what does cemetery purposes mean? Currently, it means a piece of land abandoned and forgotten by the community because people are buried there. Just what does a park of faceless names and dates represent? Our forebears could live on. We can bring stories rich with meaning and history to life if we decide that cemeteries are too important to be forgotten. The whole issue rests on the meaning of cemetery purposes and whether we give it a rigid definition or a more tolerant definition that benefits our community. Thank you very much for watching.